let's change and talking. We're talking about wrestlers. Let's talk about managers for a moment. Jack, in your mind, what was the greatest manager of all time?
Bobby Heenan.
No doubt. Bobby Heenan, greatest manager of all time. Rodney?
It seems like when we were growing up, Gary Hart made a big impression, no matter where he went, whether he's managing the Spoiler or later on the Great Kabuki. Hart seemed to be at the center of everything. Of course, every era has its great managers. Of course, we go all the way back to the gentleman Saul Weingroff, and we have Jimmy Dykes, J.C. Dykes. We have Sam Bass. All of them brought something special to what they were doing. Of course, we were talking about Jim Crockett Promotions, Jim Crockett Sr. with Homer Odell. Each one of these great managers. Ron Fuller, great manager. Ron Wright. I mean, just awesome.
Victor Nash said James J. Dillon.
James J. Dillon, yeah.
Yeah, he was. What made James J. Dillon's when he would do the interview, he did it with such class. Have y'all ever seen when he was going to bring a tag team? Was it the Moondogs that he was going to bring and he just was able to do that interview that made you believe that he was something, and with him bringing it in, that it was really going to be tremendous, no doubt. Percy Pringle III, which I guess Paul Bearer would eventually be. Precious Paul Ellering, Victor Nash says.
Yep.
Mickey Mayfield says Rock Hunter. I guess for the time he was good. I always considered him. It was between him and a Gary Hart or a Bobby Heenan or a James J. Dillon. I had to put him lower down on the thing. Michael Barr said the Tennessee stud Ron Fuller back in his day, no doubt. Chad Coleman said, I love them, but Bobby the Brain Heenan. Let's see what he says. And I believe that because Bobby could do it all. The Grand Wizard of Wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we got to put Captain Lou Albano in this.
Yes, Fred Blassie. Yeah. Like I said, there's in each time, there's just great people. Just awesome people. Like he was saying, Kim Ramey, Sam Bass. Awesome.
Sir Clements the first man that would carry something like he carried almost like the tennis racket of Jim Cornette. He would carry him an umbrella to the ring. And,
right. And then Saul, Gentleman Saul did too.
Richard Hood said Jim Cornette. Victor Nash said, well, Jim Cornette, even though I couldn't stand him. And that was the truth in the back are wrestling fans. So Jim Cornette. People hated him even in the back. I think that Jerry Jarrett gave him the job as a manager because he thought somebody would kill him. That's what Bill Dundee told me. He said, really, he wanted somebody to kill you. He didn't like you that much. Let's see. Michael Halton said agrees during the 80s Cornette brought out the worst in everybody, and hiding behind Big Bubba Rogers only added to his yes, I agree. Jimmy Hart, yeah. He said forget what he did in WWE. Because they never really done nothing with him.
No. His way of doing things didn't fit with that brand. It didn't. He shined in Memphis. He shined in Georgia when he was there. Terrible mistake when Bill Watts passed over him in the hopes of bringing Akbar and Humperdinck in. But yeah, it was a terrible mistake. But Jimmy Hart,
does Akbar go down as a great manager, or is he just more of a better wrestler than he was a manager?
I liked him as a manager. You know, I don't know if I'd rank him as one of the great ones, but he was certainly very good.
Richard Hood said Dandy Jack. Is that Dandy Jack Donovan? Is that who that is?
Dandy Jack.
By the way, I believe it was Jack Donovan that got. Is he not the one that got beat up by Jackie Fargo?
I believe you are exactly right.
Jarrett and Tojo Yamamoto. Was he not the one that got beat up by them? And Dad felt bad at it because he felt like he was the one that made all that happen, because he was refereeing the match between Jack Donovan and Tojo Yamamoto. Jack didn't want to do the finish that they were sent over, so Dad just, being young, goes over and says, "Hey, by the way, he don't want to do any of that." Oh, really? Right, that's fine.
Okay, that'll be fine. We'll just wing it.
Fine, we'll take care of that. And then they do take care of it. Tojo takes care of it in the ring. And then the next day, Tojo, Jerry Jarrett, Jackie Fargo, all three take care of old Dandy Jack and leave him, I think, really beat up really bad in a restroom at a TV station. So,
yeah,
the old days of wrestling there. Michael said the trio of Wizard, Blassie, and Lou Albano in the WWF were part of the draw. Yes, and and when Roddy Piper was just managing in WWF, that was some good stuff. Yep. Mr. Fuji.
Mr. Fuji, yes, I like to make them suffer. Make them suffer. Love that.
Scary Sherry.
Yeah, Sherry Martel.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with Doug Summers and what was the other Buddy Rose, just awesome with them. And then later on with Savage, she was great.
Richard Hood, Gorgeous George Jr. He was very good at what he did, especially in Southeastern. Arnold Skolin, because he threw in the towel and finally ended the Howdy Doody style.
And we failed to mention Paul Jones. He was pretty good. Paul Jones was definitely good.
Glenn Allen said Al Casey. How do you say that guy's name?
Adnan
Al Casey.
And he said also Bobby Heenan, and Theodore Long was a good one.
Yeah.
Especially during the Doom days. I thought he did a really good with Ron Simmons and Butch Street. So many great managers. And it's hard, the only thing about when you're talking about managers, it's very hard to go through their career because when you're looking at matches, they didn't wrestle. So it's hard to chronic a manager's career unless they stayed with the same wrestler the whole time. And if they didn't, it's hard to really go through their careers. I've tried to do so, and it's very hard to keep a record of managers, and that's kind of sad, really, because now you can pretty much take Jim Cornette because he stayed with the Midnight Express, really did not manage anyone else. But when you got Gary Hart, he would manage the Spoiler, he would manage Mark Lewin, and he would manage all these people. It was very hard to keep track of who he managed. So
Nikolai Volkov, he did at one time. I mean, Abdullah. I mean, anybody. I mean, and then and let's not forget Gary Hart with Chris Adams in Texas.
Oh yeah, Gary was great. Gary was so good. I remember Gary Hart. He would just sit there. People said, "Oh, he's don't do." But he was so smart. He knew the wrestling business so well. He would sit there and he'd just watch the match next to and all he had to do was get up out of his chair. The people would go nuts. They would just go nuts, and all he had to do is sit back down, and the people would calm back down. And if he wanted to get the people, he just stood back up. That's psychology. That's wrestling. That's missing today. People not knowing how to do that. Stuart Kemp said, "Gentleman Jim Holiday, is that our friend, or is that who was our friend that came to Alabama?"
Jonathan Holiday, Brent.
Jonathan Holiday, yes.
That was the one that was fired on the set. No, that was not the same person.
All right, that ain't the same guy. Okay, that's good.
Somebody mentioned Eddie Crinchman on here, and he was intense. I'll just tell you right now, they've had to pull spectators off him a few times.
Yeah, Stuart Kemp said in the Cheek State.
Yeah, they had to pull. It would get so hot on him, he would be up on the ring wondering where the police at. It was.
Well, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the managers because they don't. A lot of times the managers don't get.
Cannon now also. George Cannon was also a big manager.
Yeah.
We'll go with one more, and then we'll get off it here. Stuart Kemp said, "Here's an interesting one. I'm not for sure how you say that. Do y'all know what that says? Akamasa? Yakamatsu, maybe. Originally from Calgary, Inoki wanted a manager's band, and bad news, Allen brought him with him. All right, I don't.
Mayfield said Sonny King. Yeah,
Sonny King. Let me tell you something. Arns Andersons, Jared Stubb. He had always put the S's where they wasn't, and then he would put where they're supposed to be an S, he would leave them out. I think he did that all on purpose, by the way.
Yeah, he was great. Michael Hayes was a good manager too.
Yes, he was. So many great managers in wrestling, and I think it's sorely missed today. Paul Heyman. Let's remember Paul.
We forgot him. And Miss Linda, we have the valets. Miss Linda and Miss Brenda Britton.
And let's never forget Missy Hyatt.
Okay, well, we can get off the air now.
Now, once the name is mentioned, that's the end of the show. We thank you for joining us.
Hey, now, we have to give her, now I have to be honest with her and Dark Journey used to have some good fights. I mean, they were great, even though she would cry about it after.
Victor Nash, excuse me, has said a wrestler that should have been the world champion, Kevin Sullivan.
Well, he had the opportunity when he had the book, but he knew better.
If he was booking
Miss Elizabeth,
I will tell you, somebody said one time if he was booking, he would have been the one that ended Goldberg's streak, but he was not booking at the time. So.
Daniel Lang was talking about the manager who took the samurai sword to Val Venus.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. He was from
Apparently
Japan.
nobody does.
I bet Val does.
If you are watching this on Facebook, please like and share the page and let people know about Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. We got a lot of things coming up in 2021. Also, if you're watching those YouTube, give us that big thumbs up and subscribe to the page.